myself to the middle. Because inevitably, if that person isn't listening, you're not listening. You're not being heard, you're not hearing.
Right.
So she's not wrong in the fact that you're not listening. But it's because you haven't been listened to either. And that's why people continue having the same fight over and over and over again, because no one wants to budge.
Now, another situation that I have with her. For example, she claims, and it fucks with my head because I start believing it, but in all actuality, I recheck in with myself, and I'm like, no, I don't do that. I know I don't do that. She says that instead of me asking for help or for stuff, I expect people to just do it. Where in her life does she see that? Because I know that she's seeing it in her. I'm like a mirror of that in her own life. I feel like her telling me that is really her saying it back to herself.
Yes, but she doesn't know that.
Right. No, I know. But what I'm saying is, why does she need to tell me this? And sometimes I believe it. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I do that. Like, maybe I do expect people to just do it instead of me asking. But, I don't, I'm trying to understand.
So first and foremost, when you're working, like in this case, with a relationship or a couple or two people, or even if it's just you, and I invite you to do this with her, can you give me an example of when I do this? Remember that rules, structure, a rule book like is number 6, step in my model, forces people to define and put it down on paper. As children, we want to make false accusations. Oh, you didn't love me. Oh, this was horrible. Oh, this and this and that. No, show me where I do that. Give me an example, very Capricornian, of when I do that. First of all, that's going to help with your first 2 statements. She claims, and it fucks with my head. The minute someone is fucking with your head, that's not good. Okay, that is making you really, really confused. Say, oh fuck, this person has power over you. It's like gaslighting. Okay, so your mother is fucking with your head. It's just like a cult leader. So there's danger in that. And the only way, I was telling this to you the other day about that tarot reader. I had a boyfriend who gaslighted me for so many years. He had me believing that I had 3 personalities. He named them. He had me believing that I was like looking at other men and flirting with just the way that I said hello. To the point that for 4 years, I walked with my head down so that he couldn't accuse me. So what you said there, this is fucking with my head, to me, is a red light. The only way to counteract that is show me proof. I used to go to this tarot reader, like on a daily, so that she would tell me I'm not crazy. Because I thought I was going fucking crazy. I had already been conditioned from a cult leader. This guy was no different. So I was already susceptible to that. Now I question everything, and I tell you guys, question everything, question everything. Question, question, question. Because you can't take things at face value. You have to kind of say, wait a minute, does it make any sense? Where's the science? Where's the proof? So clients are going to tell you, oh, I'm different. Oh, I didn't do it. I had a client yesterday, half the shit she said I didn't believe. Now she is my client. I used to, when she was married, counsel her ex-husband. I know he's just as crazy. I don't know who has the truth or not. Probably somewhere in the middle. But she was my client and I had to work with her. But you have to question, and you can't just, oh, this person said it, so it must be. And so if you feel that this is messing with your head, then you have to ask, and you teach your client, give me a concrete example. Can you share with me a time that I did that? So that's first, okay? Now, she says that you don't ask, you just expect.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you think of a time where this is true?
I mean, maybe in a way, like, the reason why I say it fucks with my head is because ever since my friends helped me out from off the streets and stuff, Henry and Yvonne, like, yeah, I kind of expect them to help me since they've been helping me for so long. But I also, when I talk to them, sometimes my mom's around and jokingly I'll be like, oh, Yvonne, get here like now or something. But it's as a joke, it's not, and she takes it personal. She takes it like, oh, Paola, like, why would you, how could you say that to him?
Well, I'm gonna give you my opinion, my hypothesis from your mom.
Yeah.
But there's two sides to this. The hypothesis I have, knowing what I know, what you've shared about your mom, is your mom feels that you do that to her. So are you supposed to bow at her every day? Thank you, Mom, for letting me live here. Thank you for taking Jay to school. Thank you. But in her fucking warped head, that's my hypothesis, is that's what she's expecting. Because she's a saint, and she's canonized, and you should be bowing down to her. That's what I think is prompting that. But what I also, you came to that hypothesis too. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
As you realize it's her. However, it's bothering you.
It is.
Because somewhere in you, you believe this to be true. And you, A, have a very strong value system about taking.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what you're being told is that you're taking.
Yeah.
And hell if you're going to tell Paola that she's taking. So it's affecting you and your value system. And so it's very, very important that we see if there's any truth to it, and if so, is it really a big deal?
Right.
Why is that such an extreme?
And that's what I sit outside, and when things arise like that, I take a moment to check in with myself, and I'm like, but do I really do that? Like, I know how I ask people. If I always ask, if you can do me the favor, I would greatly appreciate it. If you can't, if you don't have the time, don't worry about it. I'll figure something out. And I've approached my mom because you know that sometimes Jay gets sick and stuff, and I've told you guys I hate asking her to take me to the fucking doctor or something because that's like her worst nightmare. So when I ask her, I do it in a way so that she has an outlet. So I tell her, hey Mom, listen, Jay is sick. I can call Yvonne and ask him. The thing is that he lives a little bit farther. You're more convenient in the sense that you have the car right here. Would you mind taking us to the doctor? If you have a problem, don't worry about it. I can call Yvonne, and I'm sure Yvonne will come and pick us up. I just want to know first. So that's how I always approach it when I'm asking her. But I'm very like on my tippy toes when
Very
I ask.
much.
And
I can feel it just in the way you're describing. She's not even here.
Yeah.
It's not even happening that Jay's sick, but I can see it in your body language that you having to rely on her and ask her makes you so uncomfortable. But it goes back to here. It goes back to the rejection that you have about this aspect of yourself. Another thing about home is reliance on other people. We can't do this alone. Tell that to a Capricorn. We are not alone. I told you that class that I taught at Kaiser Pembroke Pines in the other building that the woman started crying when she's like, I don't rely on anybody, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, really, did you change your diapers? And she starts crying, mommy. It was like the most unsolicited, unexpected reaction from the student because I reminded her she did not get to this point alone. I started thinking about this yesterday. How do people do it? Back in the day, people got paid. Most people weren't, divorce wasn't like it is now. You stayed at a company for 20, 30 years, you had a pension or a retirement, you had loyalty, you got your 4% raise or your cost of living. That isn't existing. I talked to someone yesterday, I don't remember who it was, and I said, oh, does he have benefits? And she goes, no, he gets decently paid, but he doesn't have benefits. And I'm like, how do people do it? And I started thinking about myself. My parents had bought me for my 21st birthday a BMW. I had shit cars before that, so don't even look at me. I had a car that didn't go in reverse, okay? I had cars that would leave me stranded in the middle of the highway because the engine fell out or because I got really bad cars because my dad used to buy cars at auction, so they were pieces of shit. So I guess at 21, they finally felt that I deserved a good, safe car, and I got a BMW. From there, I had that, and then I got pregnant, and I married the father of my children. We took that BMW, and we traded it in for one of the small little SUV Lexuses. So now we're talking, my parents bought the car, my ex-husband, took me to the transition, then we had Sophia, and we bought the big Lexus LX.
Did you manage a BMW to a Lexus SUV?
Because I happened to marry a man that was doing very well financially.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm saying I was thinking about this. Then I divorced him, I have the car, and then I went to a Chrysler and a minivan and all that, and now I'm here, and I own a home, and I have a little bit in savings, and I just bought my son this car that I told you about, and it's a piece of shit, but I know it has, all I care about is safety. At the end of the day, I had safety, I'm a mom, I don't care what it looks like, he could deal with that later. It's gonna get him from point A to B safe because it's low miles, and I feel good about that because I can't afford. And I'm like, if I would not have gotten that BMW as a gift, that then I happened to have a husband that could afford to trade it up, that then we traded it up for something else, that in the divorce I got, the little bit of money that I got in the divorce, in my second, and I'm telling you that I did not make out in any way, shape, or form. I've never gotten a penny of alimony or child support. I paid child support, so I am like a shit example, but even within that, I had to look back and say, damn, I've had helping hands along the way. My ex-husband was really into real estate, and we bought and sold a lot of properties, and in the divorce, I got a little bit of money because of those properties, which then let me buy this house. Like, those people, even though they were sons of bitches, somewhere in my life were stepping stones for me to get to where I am now. And we have to look at that. We really have to look at that, but we're so convinced that we made it alone, that we did it all ourselves, and you don't, because you have this shadow. Home is also dependence. The sign Cancer is the sign of dependence, and Capricorn is independence. So her value system is independence at all cost. Any little thing that reminds her that she has to depend on another individual is going to make her freak the fuck out. That's the issue here. The issue is, I don't want to go back to this. And in the psyche, if I am dependent on someone, then I will be homeless again. Because subconscious doesn't make sense. Remember, you're filling in the gaps. If it's February and I'm wearing red and pink, what day is it? Valentine's. You made that conclusion yourself. You filled in the gaps. The subconscious does that. She became dependent, and her subconscious was like, oh, no way, I'm going to become homeless. The minute she becomes dependent, aka, Mom, can you take Jay to the doctor? She is so close to being homeless again. That's the fear that's being sort of prompted in your psyche. That's what I'm teaching you to listen for. Yes, you listen to your client, but why are we listening to the client? To pick up on boop, 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 and connecting the dots, and that's why we have a notepad, and we say, oh shit, look at that. So you already, by virtue of being a Capricorn, value independence so much that your shadow has to be dependence is bad. And here you have a 3-year-old, the poor kid, because he's 3, is dependent, and you say, well, let me save him because I'm a piece of shit. Let me give him away to some other person, which is not the way that works. You could do it, but that's not the way that works in the child's psyche. And you help him on paper, and you help yourself because now you're not close to homeless. But in your psyche, you're one step into homelessness, which is the furthest thing from the truth. You're a straight-A student. You're going to graduate in less than a year. You have people that support and care about you. You have a roof over your head. You're a kick-ass mom. You're nowhere near who you used to be. But you only have the reference point of that. That's why our mistakes trouble us so much. I've talked to you about Alzheimer's the day of the breast cancer talk. Someone asked about Alzheimer's in the class. I said Alzheimer's and dementia is about wanting to forget the decisions you made. Alzheimer's is ruled by Neptune, escape. I don't want to remember the poor decisions that I made, so I block them out. Unfortunately, we can't do that, and we are constantly giving ourselves látigo for those decisions.
But then, like, there's the other side that I defend my mom in that position with Yvonne, because Yvonne is always like, but I don't understand your mom. She's the grandma. Why doesn't she step in to help you when you need, like, why can't she take you to the doctor? Like, because there have been times where I've had to call Yvonne because Nalotra's like, oh, I can't, I have to go feed the homeless or go to church, do something. So I've had to ask Yvonne, and Yvonne questions me. He's like, but she's the grandmother. I don't understand why.
Okay, but she has a right to her own individuation.
Right, exactly. So then,
and if she has a previous plan, why does she have to break it for you?
I defend her in that sense to him because I'm like, Yvonne, first of all, she really doesn't have to do shit for me. Okay, if she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to. And let's get that out there.
Right.
But
nor does he.
Right. Just like I explained that to him too. I'm like, nor do you. If I have to figure out a bus pass, I have to figure out a bus pass at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, Jay belongs to me. I'm the mom. I'm the responsible. So he's like, yeah, but I don't get it. When my wife was alive, she helped Jackie with her kids, and they would come over, and I just don't understand your mother. Like, your mother's crazy. Why doesn't she help you? And so, in part, I'm against how my mom does it, but I also see her side, and I defend it.
So wait, why are you against it?
I'm against it because the usual role of a grandmother is that they usually help. I mean, that's my mentality, that they help in the sense of, bring the kids over or ask to see the kids or whatever. Instead, I have a mother who is annoyed by a Halloween fucking song that pisses her off.
Let's break this down.
Yeah.
And this is super important to listen for in clients. And this is why we ask, define that. The equivalent of the usual role of a grandmother is just like me telling you, so-and-so doesn't love me. If I came to you and said, oh, so-and-so doesn't love me, my kid, my parent, my boyfriend, what would you need from your client?
Why do you say that they don't love you?
Okay, so you want some clarity on why.
What is that?
That's the clarity that you're trying to get.
Oh.
Define love for me so I understand why you feel this. If I don't have a definition, then I don't understand. So you don't have to take out a piece of paper, but you might want to do this on your own. define grandmother. Unless you have a very clear understanding of what a grandmother does, how are you saying that this and that? Because then you're a hypocrite when you go tell Yvonne, well, she doesn't have to do that for me. But a second ago, you just said the usual role of a grandmother.
Right, because
you're contradicting yourself.
Because that's how I grew up. My parents, my dad's parents were the ones who watched me and my brother.
And what about your mom's parents that are also grandparents?
No, I told you that.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking.
My mom's parents, supposedly the story of my mom that she stopped allowing my grandmother to see us see me was because she found out that one day she was like, oh, she told me as a kid or whatever, I don't remember this, that she was gonna shove the spoon down my mouth if I didn't eat my fucking food. She got, I guess, annoyed because I wasn't eating or something. So my mom found out, and my mom was like, oh no, fuck you, you're not watching my jit ever again.
But safe to say that your paternal grandmother was the way that you want.
That I
usual
expect,
role.
Right.
But you actually also had another set of grandparents that didn't fit that role.
Right.
Yet you want the role of your paternal grandparents, but when you talk to Yvonne, you're actually being hypocritical because you're saying the opposite. Really, what you should be saying is, I know Yvonne, right? What a fucking bitch! She's not dropping, that's what you mean!
Yeah.
That's really what you mean!
I do tell him that, though. I do tell him. I'm like, she is allowed to say it, but at the same time, I will tell you she's a fucking bitch.
Okay, but what you really, really want is for her to drop everything and say yes every single time, like the example you had of your paternal grandparents.
Yeah.
We have to really get clear with ourselves so that we can help our clients get clear as to what they're really saying.
Yeah.
And you're angry with the fact that she's saying no, and you're having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Have it. You're allowed. She's a fucking bitch.
Yes.
And you tell her, have it. But help the client get clear as to what is going on. So you agree with Yvonne, but something in your conscience says, well, I better defend my mom because that's the right thing to do. Fuck the right thing to do. What is it that you really believe? Where are the values? I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, I don't want this, this, and this in a partner. And I said, well, you must be sure that you give that back to that person. If those are your values, and you want that person to give them to you, you have to give them back. And she said, well, I'm not the most honest. I have to work on honesty. I said, okay.
I don't get it. Yeah.
So you have to be clear that when someone is dishonest, it's because you're not there yet. You could be single if you want to wait until you develop that, or you can be in a relationship and then continue to cheat and then have them break up with you, or you break up with them until you learn the thing. We're here to learn. Remember, it's about individuation and incorporating all of the concepts, all of these aspects of self. We're all not whole. That's why we're in these freaking fucked up bodies of ours, and we're in this game. This Game of Thrones, this freaking shit show we call life, because we're trying to be integrated and individuated. So she said, I'm not there yet on the honesty. Okay, at least you're aware. You're not there yet in accepting that grandmothers have a right to say, not now. Me first. No.
I fucked with her yesterday.
That's okay. That's the worst of it? You're in pretty good shape.
I was jokingly, just to see what her reaction would be, which I was shocked. But I was like, so, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I've been getting good grades in school, and I've also been doing all my work. I got a 92 on my midterm. So like I buttered her up, and then I was like, I think, I deserve a night out. And she's like, oh, I don't have a problem with you going out, and I can say watching Jay. I just want you to come back home. And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, like, she's actually like leaning towards watching her grandson for one night. Like that's something unexpected, because she's always said, I'm not watching your kid if you're gonna go out. So, so I told her, no, I'm just fucking with you. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna stay quiet now.
But why, if you really do want to go out, wouldn't you take her up on it?
Because that's the thing. She wants me back home at a certain time. And what if my time schedule runs later than expected? What if she tells me you have to be home at 2:30 and I want to stay out till 5?
Okay, so what would you tell this client?
Fuck you, then I'm not.
What would you tell the client who wants to go out, has an opportunity to go out, but unless it's her way, there's no way she's going to do it?
Don't ever ask your mom again.
No, you're being very 0 to 100.
No.
But I want you to pay attention to what she asked her mom. How did she address her mother? What did she say to her mom?
Can I go out? Literally saying, can I go out?
Can I go out? But before she asked, can I go out, which is what children do.
She
Can
bring up the positivity of
But
the school.
I did school, I got a 92. She gets a 92, she's a straight A student. This is every month, this is every week, this is not a big deal. I'm looking at you like, really, does she know you're a straight A student? But she had to do what kids do. She had to sell it strong. Can I go out? So she became the child, the exact thing she hates. So why does she say, I'm fucking with you, I don't really want to go? What is the need in the psyche to say, no, I don't want to go?
The homeless.
Exactly. Because you already behave like a child. You're saying, fuck you, I'm not going. Who's that hurting? Her?
No.
But she doesn't care. The psyche is like, fuck you, I did it. My mom's like, whatever, okay, one day I don't have to take care of Jay. That's what we're doing constantly. We're the hero and we're the evil guy in the story in the same sentence. I'll succumb to being the child because I have a Cancer shadow and I have to. Can I go? Fuck you! I'm in charge. She's having her own soap opera in her own head. No, her mom has nothing to do with it. She didn't even ask her mom. She's like, and this is what we do. We say yes, we say no. We say yes, we say no. No one else is involved.
But she
We're in
also,
this.
before she responded to that, she was like, oh, but this weekend, just remember that I have to do this. So, like, it's like an ongoing battle with us. Like,
Of
we're
course.
like, I'm like,
Remember
oh,
what I
yes.
said. The opposite, that other person that we're fighting with, for whatever it is in us. She's just a placeholder. She's just saying, para que no crean que tú estás loca. So that you're not totally fucking crazy having this conversation with ourselves like in schizophrenia. This person shows up, says, oh, I'll play along. Give me my lines. So that you can come to class and go, oh, my mom. Because if you said, oh, I had a fight with the good part of me, and then the bad part of me, and then the bad part of me said this, we'd be like, psych ward. So we have a person now, so that we're normal, who is playing the role. And of course that person has a need to have you and play that role in the whole thing. And that's how all these relationships are constructed. But the minute she already said, but this way,
Yeah, that's the minute I turned around and I was like, I was just fucking with you. Just kidding. Ha ha ha. Let's go.
because you have to get into this child-adult. It happens to be because Cancer and this adult science Capricorn. Whatever the extreme is with your client that you're going to pay attention to, like I said before, the perfection straight A's, there has to be a story where there wasn't. One side, there has to be the other side. If you don't ask, then you have to ask. always, you're heard, you have to be heard, or you have to hear. It always works that way.
And it happened to be that Nick also called me to hang out last weekend, but he calls me when he wants to make the plans the same day. I'm like, dude, I have a fucking kid. You need to let me know at least 10 days before. So